Remember the good old days when Genshin Impact first released? It felt like such a wonderful, beautiful thing.
And
many great characters, a community that fought for what was right. Like when many thought that Zhongli was nerfed. I mean, to this day, I feel like he was fine, but hey, we got Big Dong Zhong to make bigger, harder shields and never mind. But back then, Genshin Impact felt like the start to a great relationship, like a high school sweetheart. Fast forward a few years, and your high school sweetheart gained 300 pounds, and the home you had for so many years is trashed with cans of refined resin scattered, and all your primos going to the dinner at McDonald's and KFC.
I don't understand a word you just said.
I may be overthinking it, but the recent issues with Genshin Impact sure has got me thinking. All the stuff we were told we were getting seemed more like half-truths. If you think about it, this recent free summons thing for Phase 2 of 5.3 isn't even the first time that they made something good but had a catch behind it. But before we dive into this silliness, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor, GamerSupps, the gluten-free, keto-friendly energy drink that tastes great without all the nastiness that comes from other energy drinks. GamerSupps uses natural fruit extracts and vitamins that make you feel You can try GamerSupps with caffeine, caffeine-free, and they even have sleep aids that are called AFK and teas, natural teas. And of course, the waifus are amazing. Use code TYSHER for 10% off, and don't forget that on January 17th, we will be releasing the collab between GamerSupps and Shy Lily known as V-Card TCG. I'm going to pick up a couple boxes myself, so make sure to tell me what you pull when V-Card comes out. Back when Genshin Impact first launched, we had a summon system that was pretty easy to understand. When you summon on a limited 5-star banner, you had a 50-50 chance of summoning the limited 5-star character. If you lost the 50-50, you gained one of 5 general banner characters at the time. Now it's up to 7. Or one of the general 5-star weapons. However, if you lost the 50-50, the next 5-star you pulled would be the 5-star limited character. That, however, wasn't the case for all banners. On the weapon banner, you have a 75-25 chance of getting the limited 5-star weapon. But if you lost, you wouldn't get the same chance as the limited 5-star character banner, which meant that you would have to hope that if you lost, you wouldn't lose again. Take Tectone, for example. Shout out to Techie. During version 1.3 of Genshin Impact, we saw the release of a now favorite character among the community, Hutao, and her weapon known as Staff of Homa. Tectone summoned on the weapon banner for Staff of Homa and lost 9 times.
we will hit pity one more time for this god-forsaken weapon. Staff of Homa and Zhongli is my cause. Zhongli and Staff of Homa is my root motivation, and we're going to bring it home right.
This was insane to watch when it first happened. Thanks to this incident, we got an update to the weapon banner in version 2.0 of Genshin Impact known as the Epitomized Path. With this update, if you lost the 75-25 or the 50-50 on the limited banner twice, you were guaranteed to get the weapon you want specifically. Basically, you would have to choose the path that you would go on, and then if you lost those two, then you would be able to get it. And this still wasn't a great addition. I mean, you still had to summon so much just to get the weapon that you wanted. It wouldn't be until version 5.0 in 2024 that would bring that number down from 2 to 1. So if you lost the 50-50 or the 75-25 once in the weapon banner, then you would finally get the same chances as you would when it came to the character banner. But let's be real, this should have been the case from the start. I could tell you as a content creator back when this all happened, and many content creators I know would tell you guys that the weapon banner was a scam, because it was. Big shout out to Tectone for having to go through that, because honestly, I don't think I could have done that without losing every single cent in my bank account. Hi Techie, if you're watching this, big shout out. Love you, dog. You damn baldy. Genshin Impact wouldn't have that squeaky clean image after all this went down, with many more examples of things that really pissed players off.
You freaking bricks!
A couple of examples are when the Serena Teapot update went live and it was heavily limited on what you could place down. still a thing to this day, still irritates me. The collab with Horizon Zero Dawn? Yeah, we got Aloy, but she is considered one of, if not the worst character in the game. Shout out to all you Aloy mains out there, all 5 of you guys over there. Look at you guys go. And why, oh why, is there no artifact presets? That actually brings me to my next point. Version 5.0 was huge for many reasons. One of them, for a lot of players, was the updates to the artifact system. One being the artifact fodder system, where you could trade in artifacts for artifact EXP potions. I don't know what they're called. I never learned what they were called. I don't care what they're called. But the second update, that was going to be huge. That's right. Transmog was finally in Genshin Impact, and everybody was cheering at this update. You could trade in the new currency known as Sanctifying Elixir to be able to choose the main stat and up to 2 substats of an artifact of your choice. Want a Arlecchino Pyro Damage Goblet with double crit? Boom! You got it. It would only cost the Sanctifying Elixir. Sounded great at the time. However, they said for the rules on how to obtain Sanctifying Elixir, you had to go into the in-game guidelines, and at the time of the live stream for 5.0, they weren't out. Then 5.0 released, and the Sanctifying Elixir was finally here. We finally found out what was needed, and it tore the community to shreds. Basically, to get EXP towards getting a Sanctifying Elixir, you need to toss a leveled up artifact into the artifact transmuter to gain a Sanctifying Elixir. Not just one, many leveled up artifacts, which meant that you had to level up a bunch of the artifacts to begin with, which cost Mora overall. Now granted, Mora doesn't have much use in general.
You are worthless. Your life literally is as valuable as a summer ant.
But you had to destroy the artifacts to get leveled up artifacts to destroy those into the transmuter. I know, it's a bit of a doozy. You had to do a thing to do a thing to do a thing. It's crazy. The kicker to this, however, was you only got 1 Sanctifying Elixir from this every patch. This was horrible to say the least, but hey, you could do 1 artifact per patch, right? Well, yes and no. If you did a flower or a plume, which is your slot 1 and 2 artifacts, then yes, you would be correct. You could do 1 transmuted artifact every patch. However, the 3rd slot, which is the artifact Sands of Aeon, costs 2 Sanctifying Elixirs. The Goblet, which is the 4th slot, would cost 4 elixirs, and the Circlet would cost 3. So you would have to go 4 whole patches in total for the Arlecchino Goblet if you were to be free to play. You would have to buy the Ghostly Hymn Premium Battle Pass at 20 bucks a pop, no less, to get another one. And before anybody says anything in the comments about the events and stuff, I know events could give them too, but there's not always a guarantee. It depends on how generous Genshin Impact wants to be. To say this whole Sanctifying Elixir thing pissed off the Genshin Impact player base is an understatement. It was supposed to be a celebration of a new patch to get into Natland and enjoy the wonderful story and the backgrounds of the characters in the Nation of War, but it turned into disgust and resentment for what Hoyoverse did. Hell, HSR has a similar system, albeit only for the main stat, that was better. All you had to do was turn in the 5-star relics that you didn't want, specify what relic you wanted set-wise and slot, and if you had one of the transmog materials, you would get the main stat you wanted.
Wish Genshin had this, which would have made farming a lot easier.
So why was the Genshin Impact team doing this? It was a way for them to get you to buy the Ghostly Hymn Battle Pass and make more money. A company strives to make money, and well, Hoyoverse is no exception. So for them to do something like this wasn't completely out of the ordinary. But it still made a lot of Genshin Impact players a little peeved. But this wouldn't be the last time the Genshin Impact development team would make a decision that would anger the players. In fact, my last example is the most recent problem, and I even talked about this at the beginning of the video. A gacha player's gotta have currency to pull on the newest and latest units, and Genshin Impact is no exception. You could ride high and pull a character in a single pull, or you could go 75 pulls in, lose your 50-50, and then go 75 again to finally pull the brand spanking new waifu or husbando. Get it, girl. Oh, God, she's so hot, dude. What in the hell were they thinking? We pulled the leopard mommy, right? I really recommend people not to spend their paycheck on 2D waifus because at the end of the day, you could lose that account, i.e. the dreaded end of service announcement, and there would be no way of you getting your money back. That being said, one of the great things that some gacha games do is give out free currency. Whether it's from a login event or random gifts from the devs for fixes and awards they receive. Genshin Impact is no exception to these free pulls. However, they tend to get a lot of flack for the amount they give, and for good reason. The recent update for version 5.3 of Genshin Impact was the ending of the main Natlan story. Version 5.3 was also going to be the new Lantern Rite Festival patch, so double whammy, right? Surely we were going to get more than 3 pulls, right? Genshin Impact's development team during the live stream for 5.3 talked about what was coming as gifts to the travelers across the world. 20 free pulls between in-game mail and login bonuses. Awesome, now we could summon for Citali and Malvika with the 20 free pulls, right? During the live stream, they announced that Citali and Malvika would be part of Phase 1. Surely we would get to see those 20 pulls during Phase 1, right? During the live stream, it wasn't said when the pulls would be in the in-game mail or when the login bonuses would actually happen. So, when version 5.3 launched and players saw that the in-game rewards were not there, they panicked. So, what happened? While Hoyoverse didn't say anything about it in the live stream itself, they posted on X showing that the free currency would be given out starting on January 22nd, the launch of Phase 2 of version 5.3. This angered a bunch of players and creators alike, including myself. Many CCs who had been mostly positive about Genshin Impact throughout its release started condemning Genshin Impact's development team for putting the 2 new units, both being popular and one of them being an Archon of the new region, and leaving the free currency to be on Phase 2.
As per the title of this thumbnail, it screams greed a little bit too loudly for me. Gacha games obviously scream greed all over the place, but this screams greed pretty loudly. We were sort of expecting, a lot of us, for Moika and Citali to be available the whole version through the second half. That would have been really, really sweet of them. That would have been really, really cool.
And I've seen a lot of arguments about this as well. Some have said, well, if you look at the live stream when it was announced, it had the Lantern Rite background, meaning it should have been assumed that it would be Phase 2, which I would say is kind of true. However, it didn't help that this was during the events section, and after they had announced that, they announced the Xbox Wings for all users, which was given out day 1, mind you. But let's get off of that tangent. There were many ways you could have fixed this issue. The first would have been to give the currency out at the beginning.
New character, new character, new character, new character, new character.
But then you had the issue of making it for Lantern Rite. That brings us to option 2. Make the banners of the new characters last through the entire update, like how Hoyo vs. Zenless Zone Zero is doing it. ZZZ currently has its 1.4 update going strong, which gave us 2 new characters in Harumasa and Miyabi. Both banners of those characters are lasting through the update as a whole, so that players can summon at any time. This would have been a perfect thing for Hoyoverse to do for Genshin Impact. However, this is where FOMO comes into play. See, Hoyoverse is the king of FOMO! This is the strongest feeling in gacha games. It makes players pull out the credit card and start swiping, all to obtain that precious character that they watched a CC use in an early showcase. Now, normally it's a little less horrible because it's normally just 1 character, but in version 5.3, it's 2, and the free currency is on the next phase of the update, just after they go away. So FOMO sets in, your palms get sweaty, knees weak, arms are... You get the idea. This is coordinated by Hoyoverse to get more money out of you, and it works. Genshin Impact has been at the top of the charts every month with how much money they bring in. And I ain't saying this as somebody who is holier than thou. I spend money on the game, but I still recognize the issues that this game has. These were just 3 examples today of things Hoyoverse has done to withhold the full information regarding what happens in Genshin Impact. But if you know more, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Also, I give every creator full permission to react to this video, and if I miss some context, don't be shy and let me know. Constructive criticism from my peers is always appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Deeply appreciate you all tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful good stuff. Anyways, that's going to be it. Love you all to death. And as always, we will catch you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.